Pope Francis was a voice of moral clarity, spiritual courage, and boundless compassion. He was, in many respects, the world's conscience, never hesitating to challenge the powerful on behalf of the vulnerable.
I just signed an executive order putting the flags of our country, all of them, all federal flags and state flags, at half-mast in honor of Pope Francis. So he was a good man, worked hard, he loved the world, and it's an honor to do that.
Папа Римский сделал очень много для не только своей паствы, но и для мира в целом. Мы приносим самые глубокие соболезнования всему христианскому миру, ну и прежде всего, конечно, католикам.
Pope Francis was a messenger of hope, humility, and humanity. He was a transcendent voice for peace, human dignity, and social justice. He leaves behind a legacy of faith, service, and compassion for all, especially those on the margins of life or trapped by the horrors of conflict.
Papa Francisco fue un humanista, un hombre que estuvo cerca siempre del más humilde, de los pobres. Todavía el día de ayer su mensaje fue por la paz, así que es una pérdida dolorosa. Que en paz descanse, nuestro abrazo.
The US probably may not listen to us, but he owes it to the world to also reflect on his toxic policies, as he also pays tribute, because he's one of the leaders who have poured out their sentiments as a way of making the tribute to the late Pope. So he's one of the people who has given his message of condolence. But that is not enough. Pope Francis was a vanguard for the rights of the immigrants or migrants. He was at the forefront to fight for the rights of migrants, displaced people. Now, when he assumed the power, President Trump executed obnoxious and toxic directives which have affected many immigrants or migrants. So as we remember the life and times of Pope Francis and eulogize him, let's emulate his good deeds. Let's carry forward his message of tolerance, his message of compassion and empathy, his message of love for one another. So this, as I said, is another clarion call on the part of President Trump. It's not about only migrants, but also the poverty-stricken countries which are affected by his toxic policies. Uganda, you could see, because he cut off all the financial support we are getting for our vulnerable people like HIV victims and a couple of others who are suffering because of those policies. So we invite His Excellency Trump to reflect on those policies and make sure that as we eulogize and hail Pope Francis, all we do as leaders, the actions we take and the policies we make or the laws we pass must reflect those values and responsibilities. It must be in sync. The policies we make must be in sync with the values that we held dear to himself and helped to uplift mankind. So that is the call we are making. One, to the heads of state in the East African region, and also President Trump, politically reflected
То, что Папа Римский ушел из жизни именно в пасхальные дни, я не знаю, как у католиков, но у православных людей есть такое понимание, есть такая внутренняя традиция, традиционное понимание того, что если Господь призывает к себе человека в пасхальные дни, это особый знак того, что человек прожил свою жизнь не напрасно, много сделал хорошего для людей. Папа Римский сделал очень много, не только своей пастве, но и для мира в целом. Мы приносим самые глубокие соболезнования всему христианскому миру, ну и прежде всего, конечно, католикам. Это человек, хочу подчеркнуть еще раз, который в высшей степени положительно относился к России. И мы это будем помнить. То, что Папа Римский ушел из жизни именно в пасхальные дни, я не знаю, как у католиков, но у православных людей есть такое понимание, есть такая внутренняя традиция, традиционное понимание того, что если Господь призывает к себе человека в пасхальные дни, это особый знак того, что человек прожил свою жизнь не напрасно, много сделал хорошего для людей. Папа Римский сделал очень много не только своей паствы, но и для мира в целом. Мы приносим самые глубокие соболезнования всему христианскому миру, ну и прежде всего, конечно, католикам.
Holy Father, Pope Francis's compassion embraced all humanity. His kindness, humility and devotion were admired by people of all faiths and people of none. That's why his loss is being mourned not by just over 1 billion Catholics around the world, but people from all walks of life. He was the first Jesuit Pope and the first to take the name of that great champion of the poor, St. Francis of Assisi. In the truest sense of the words, he practiced what he preached. The Holy Father was one of the most consequential leaders of this century and of our lifetime. He was indeed the people's Pope. He was tireless in advocating for the powerless, campaigning against poverty, for the rights of working people, and for protecting our natural environment. Pope Francis stayed true to his origins. As pontiff, he never rose above small acts of kindness and compassion. What we saw in him was an abiding spirit of humility. There was a gentleness about him, but it was a gentleness that contained such inner strength. The Holy Father was devoted to his faith and found expression of that through his devotion to humanity. Tributes we have seen from all over the world speak for people's genuine sense of connection to Pope Francis, the qualities they recognised and admired in him. When I attended St Patrick's Cathedral last night and then attending Mass this morning, speaking to parishioners who have been deeply moved by the life and the legacy of the Holy Father.